Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Good Data and Covali's joint webinar, highlighting Covali's breakthrough business intelligence bashes built on the Good Data platform. My name is Cody Sirkovich. I am with Good Data. I'm the Vice President of Channels and Alliances, and today I will be joined by our partners at Covali, Noel Shannon, Managing Director at Covali, and Patty Moore, the Director of Professional Services at Covali. Today we wanted to go over a quick review for those that don't know about Good Data. We want to go over the Good Data platform, but really what the focus of this webinar is on Covali, their expertise, and the bashes that they've built, including some demos. And at the end, we'll actually have Q&A. So if you utilize the GoToWebinar technology, you can actually type in questions, and we'll be monitoring those throughout. And we will absolutely make sure to touch on any questions, and we'll also be recording this session. So this will be available offline for reference, and we'll be linking back to all these questions and everything. So with that, why don't we hop into the webinar and get started. Quick overview of Good Data. For those that don't know, Good Data is a integrated cloud business intelligence platform that is purely focused on helping companies, including our direct customers and our partners like Covali, figure out ways to monetize their data and their customers' data. Our target market is kind of medium to large enterprises. We have about 6,000 customers that utilize the platform, a little over 200 employees worldwide, and we've raised about $54 million to date from top-tier investors, including Andreessen Horowitz, General Catalyst, Fidelity Growth, and Tenaya Capital. We're headquartered in San Francisco, but we've got sales offices in Portland and Boston, and then our research and development is in Prague in the Czech Republic, along with Brno in the Czech Republic. We've got really two main use cases with Good Data. First, people use Good Data as a standard business intelligence layer in their companies to measure their own practices in their own data. What we're going to be talking about today is more on the right side, where we see for their customers, companies like Covali and also companies such as independent software vendors utilize our technology to provide analytics on systems for their customer bases. And that's what we're really talking about today with Covali's bashes. Why do people utilize Good Data? And Covali, we'll talk about this a little bit. But ultimately, what it takes to stand up a typical business intelligence layer in an organization is a lot of technologies in a value chain. So from integration to data warehousing to analytics to visualization and predictive and things like that, companies like SAP have purchased 10 companies over the last several years to effectively try and create an end-to-end solution, even though those are all disparate products built on different technologies, and they don't work that well together. You can also go out and piecemeal all these technologies today with kind of best-of-breed type solutions where, again, you have that kind of cross-operability challenge. And really what Good Data has done is we've taken that entire value chain and we have provided that as a tightly and vertically integrated technology platform that's available. And what we've really done, and I think Covali can speak to this, is we've abstracted all of the operational layer that's required for business intelligence. All of those kind of middle parts of the value chain are abstracted from our partners and from our partners' customers. In the end, what people use when they use the technology is our front-end ETL tool to get the data into the system, and then the visualization layer and the output layers to do predictive and things of that nature. So all of the operational challenges that go along with BI, from hardware, infrastructure, scaling, services, monitoring, Good Data takes all of that off of the plate of our customers and our partners and allows them to focus on what's important, and that's generating business value, business outcomes, and what really results in monetization of data. Today we're actually going to be talking and focus specifically on Covali's bash use case. What is a bash? A bash is, in Good Data parlance, is a business mashup. What that means is we're connecting different disparate data sources with the people and processes that, again, will achieve value out of that. And we've got kind of two descriptions of what a bash is. In noun form, it's a business mashup. In verb form, it's to monetize data, to bash. And ultimately what bashes allow you to do, and when you're bashing, you make better decisions and more money by bashing your data. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the bash today with Covali. And really what that means is a use case driven application. From a partner perspective, the question is, why would I sell, deliver, or build a bash? There's a few different reasons for this, and the reasons to use the GoodData platform. The first is increased velocity. It's easier to sell a solution than general BI. We're not selling technology when we're talking about bashes. What we're actually selling are solutions, and again, packages that are driven towards business outcomes. There's massive rapid delivery gains here. Instead of going through a typical business intelligence implementation process of deep requirements gathering, 6 to 12 months of implementation and things like that, you can actually do rapid delivery here and get something of immense value in the hands of a customer in just a few short days or weeks. Obviously, with the ability to customize, add on, expand, those are absolutely critical. Simplified support is obviously critical for delivering and building these, and with a pre-built solution around domain expertise, which is, again, what Covali will be touching on today, makes support much easier. And then, as I said, logical upsells, including extensibility, adding on other bashes, combining bashes together, different modules, and so on, makes it very easy. In the end, it results for companies like our partners, Covali, in higher margins for them, happier customers, and less stressful, less elongated services cycles, actually delivering services that deliver value. When we look at this, the GoodData partnering ecosystem, we have really 3 different partnerships. And we're going to be focused on the solution provider layer today, but from a value perspective, we have a consulting partner, which is more around strategic services and implementations. That is largely around services work. Then we have a bash reseller program, which GoodData and our partners like Covali will build bashes and offer those to our bash reseller network. So our partners can build bashes, and then our partners can sell bashes, but our partners and partners can sell bashes. So what we're trying to do is generate a large ecosystem here to make sure that our companies and partners like Covali that are putting their domain expertise to work in these very, very rich and valuable bashes have as large a footprint of people actually out there selling and marketing these bashes as possible without having to stand up a large sales organization. And then ultimately what we're talking about today, Covali is a perfect example of this, is a solution provider. So this is a partner that actually goes out, builds a solution, monetizes their IP, their domain expertise, and adds that bash to the ecosystem again to kind of gain as much of a footprint as possible. So that's just a quick overview. We'll have contact information about how to learn more about these bashes, but as I said, the focus today is really around Covali. So with that, I want to hand it over to Noel Shannon, the Managing Director of Covali, and I'm going to pass presentation over to Patty really quick, but Noel, if you're there, feel free to go ahead and take over.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much, Cody. Thanks for that introduction. And hello, everybody. My name is Noel Shannon. I'm delighted to be here today to introduce Covali and the business intelligence applications, as we call them, our bashes, as GoodData call them, to you. And I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes to introduce ourselves, and then I'm going to hand over to Paddy, and he will demonstrate the actual application. So could I just go to the next slide? Just to introduce Covali quickly. We are a specialist business intelligence organization. We've been operating with business intelligence systems for many years now. We're based in Ireland. We have ClickView is our main domain of expertise, although we've worked with other on-site and traditional business intelligence platforms such as Cognos, etc. We have an international focus, and our sales model is similar to our neighbours who have based their international operations here in Dublin, the likes of Salesforce, Dropbox, and Facebook and others. So we specialize in providing business intelligence consultancy. We provide strategy, advice and direction. We've built applications. We've built many applications here in our development centre in Dublin. We customize applications for our customers, and we provide them with ongoing training and support. We have concentrated to date on on-site solutions. I suppose business intelligence is has been traditionally slow to move to the cloud, but our expertise has been in building a range of standard applications for common business needs. These applications are around accounts receivable, accounts payable, inventory management, financial management, invariably connecting to ERP systems like Microsoft Dynamics, Sage, Sage 200, Sage 300, Sage 500, Oracle Financial Systems, and SAP. Our customers have been demanding an on-demand solution similar to other products that are available now in the cloud. And about 6 months ago, we set about trying to find an appropriate platform for providing our applications in an on-demand fashion. We were looking for something that could provide a stunning result, provide a simple interface, and yet provide a complete infrastructure so that our customers didn't have to worry about anything except running the application. GoodData was by far and away the best platform for delivering on that requirement. Our applications have been built in the past on for retail, wholesale, logistics. In healthcare, we've worked with the NHS in the UK and with other hospitals in Ireland, with various financial services and technology companies. We have deep ERP and data integration expertise, and what we've done is we've taken the applications that we have built on these other platforms and we've ported them to GoodData, and we're going to show one of those today. So I'm going to hand over now to Paddy Moore, who's going to show the first application, which is our revenue bash, which will focus on what are the important things about measuring your money and measuring your profitability. So over to you, Paddy.
Thanks, Noel, for that introduction. What I'm going to do over the next 15 minutes or so is to bring you through our sales, revenue, and profitability application. So we call it Trading Insights. So it gives you great insight into how your business is performing on a day-to-day basis over the longer term. It allows you to identify profitability sweet spots. It allows you to monitor your current performance, your performance over longer periods of time. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is GoodData as a platform is a web. It delivers its user interface entirely through a web browser. So I'm using Chrome, but I could just as easily be using Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, just about any modern browser. So it's universally compatible. There's no particular plugins or any unusual software that you have to install. It's purely a web-based experience. That means it works well on desktops, works well on mobile devices, tablets, smartphones. And there's also an iPad app available in the App Store to give that extra experience on an iPad. Okay. So the principles behind GoodData are principles we believe strongly in, which are a simple unified interface. Business intelligence, I suppose the keyword is business. So providing an easy to consume yet insightful view of your information is essential if you're going to gain traction and gain adoption across an organization. So the dashboard we're looking at here at the moment is one of two main areas of the product. The other area of the product is the ad hoc report builder, and I'm going to show you how to build ad hoc reports in a few minutes. GoodData dashboards themselves are provided to the business to give an intuitive view of the data. Dashboards are entirely customizable and can be tailored to give specific views for your business needs. So our applications take this concept further. So what we've done is we provide a pre-built business performance model to give you clear metrics on revenues, margins, profitability, the interrelationships between those figures, and allow you to analyze those figures by a range of different factors. So the view I'm looking at here initially is looking at our last 7 days trading. So it's meant to give you a current view of your business. Your business may want to look at the prior week, it may want to look at 30 days. That's easily adjustable. Okay. So if I take a quick tour of this screen, first figure that we're looking at, I have my revenue here for my last 7 days versus the previous 7 days. I've got a clear indication of performance this week versus last week. So we can see clearly here, through the use of color coding, that we're trading less strongly this week than we were last week. However, versus last year, this is a very high growth business. We're up 364% on the same week last year. Okay, so we're able to do comparative metrics, and our charting and visualization allows us to very clearly identify the revenue in the last 7 days versus the revenue in the previous 7 days. Okay. So if I look a bit further down the screen here, I'm able to show whatever information on demand that is most relevant to the view that I'm looking at. So I'm looking at my quantity sold year on year and versus last week. And I've also put in a few highlights here so we can see which customers have traded most strongly with us in the last 7 days, which products or items have been selling well, okay, at a category level and at an individual product level. So a good start. At a glance here, I'm able to see and easily consume my current business performance. Okay. You can also note the ease with which I can filter this information. So, for example, if I wanted to just look at specific item categories and filter my dashboard to do that, it's one click away. Okay. So, at a click, I can see different views of my business, which if I'm a sales director, for example, I can very quickly see my year-to-date view just by simply clicking on a tab. What we're showing here now is a range of my key performance indicators: my net profit, my net margin, quantity sold, gross margins, revenues. Key information that might be great to show directly at a boardroom meeting, for example. I'm seeing my key trends in my business, my revenues by month, my quantities and average unit sales, for example, and I'm cross-comparing metrics here. So I'm looking at my revenues, what proportion of my revenue represents gross profit. I can see my gross margins, I can see my net margins. Easy to consume, easy to understand, far more comprehensible than a spreadsheet of numbers. Okay. I can easily extend, for example, or change the time periods that I'm looking at. So I want to look at last year's performance. Nice, easy to use selectors to change the view that I'm looking at. Let's try that again. There we go. So I'm very easily able to extend and change the views of information that I'm looking at. Okay. So this is very useful for identifying longer-term patterns or trends that may be going on in my business. So I can see my longer-term trends now in revenues, not just a short-term view. Majority of organizations we've dealt with over the years are very interested in comparing current year and prior year performance directly. So we've provided a dedicated dashboard view that shows that information for all my key metrics. So I'm looking at revenues, and I can see very clearly that my revenues have well surpassed revenues for the prior year with a simple bullet chart. And I can see the trends on that month by month over the year to date. So we're directly comparing year to date figures. We're not comparing a full year of last year with a partial year of this year. Okay. As it is a web solution, if I want to see a wider amount of data or a large amount of data on a single screen, I can simply zoom out and I can see a whole range of metrics at the same time, and I can zoom in when I want to see more detail. One of the great features that comes out of the box with GoodData is anything that I see here, I can choose to export it as a PDF, as an image, to Excel or to CSV. So I can very easily communicate and disseminate this information out to wider audiences. Okay. So at this stage we've looked at our current performance, we've looked at our year-to-date performance, we've looked at our year-on-year performance. So we've good high-level understanding of our business performance. So we can start to dive into our data a bit more in depth. Okay. So what we're looking at now is we're focusing in here on the products or items that our business sell. Okay. So in this database of information that I'm using, we're a business that sells primarily bicycles, which you can see clearly here on our scatter, on our bubble chart. So we sell far larger quantities of bicycles at a mid-range gross margin than any other product range that we sell. Okay. We can look at our accessories, for example, and we see that although we sell far larger or high volumes of accessories at a high margin, their unit price sale is much lower, so their overall profit contribution is a lot lower. So straight away I'm starting to identify within my business where my profitability comes from and what I can do to start to drive that and improve it. So a good strategy, for example, for this business may be to look at how we increase unit prices on our accessories while maintaining margins. Okay. Because GoodData allows us to visualize data in a whole range of ways, I'm able to look at trends across categories. So for example, I can see that my accessory sales are not really growing. My sales of bicycles are growing, so that's why our profitability is growing, and our sales of components are growing. Okay, so I might want to drill in a bit more to understand what's going on. With GoodData, I could drill in right in on charts if I want. So if I want to drill in here on accessories, I can do that. And now I'm looking at the product categories within the accessories group, so I can see straight away, for example, that I've got product category here, tires and tubes, with a near 70% gross margin. We should really be doing something to try and increase those sales. Okay. So a crucial thing with all business intelligence is to be able to drill down and explore my data in more detail. GoodData enables me to do that in a really easy to use fashion. Okay. So now I'm wondering, I have a sales force that are out trying to make sales in the marketplace. Who's performing, who's my star performers, and who's falling behind. So this view, for example, enables me to look at my revenue by each salesperson and to understand the countries in which they're selling it. Okay. So if I want to examine salespeople that are selling into the United States, I can just isolate those values. So I can see that Linda is our top selling salesperson into the US, and indeed our top selling salesperson overall. We have our rankings here, and we can use these tables to sort and uncover patterns in our information we might not otherwise understand. If I look a bit further down the screen here, we see a different visualization. So in this case, we're presenting a lot of information at the same time. The idea behind this is that you can identify patterns. So for example, I can see clearly here that we've our big swings in our sales patterns. So big highs and big troughs, whereas some other people seem to have lower level ones. So when I look at who this is, one of our top performers is Linda. So Linda peaks and troughs very significantly in her volumes of sales by month. So that's kind of interesting. So one of our next top performers was Jay. Jay seems to be working on a very different cycle to Linda. So this is information that would be hard to identify from sets of numbers, much easier to identify from visualizations. I may want to have a conversation to understand are the best practices either Linda's using or Jay's using that we could apply more widely to help improve the sales performance of some of our lower performing salespeople. Yeah. So out of the box insight. Move across here. The last view that I'm going to show you today is regions, territories, countries. It's of interest to most organizations that we deal with. So here we're looking at our countries that are contributing our profit. Star performer here is the US. Okay, maybe in the market in which we originated the business, maybe pushing out to other territories. But interestingly, US has a mid-range margin. So Australia, although it's lower volume, using a much higher margin. So there may be lessons we can learn by understanding why in Australia we can achieve a 42% margin, whereas in our largest market we can only achieve a 26% margin. We can also examine, for example, our product mixes. So in Australia, for example, we seem to be selling increasing quantities of components quarter to quarter. In the US, we seem to be doing the same. Okay, so there is some consistency there. So what these types of charts and visualizations and pre-built displays allow people to do is people who aren't experts in business intelligence can access information, explore the information, and understand quickly what is occurring within their business and go and ask meaningful questions to take action. Okay? By doing that, margins, profits, and your sales performance can be driven up over time. You can monitor the effective actions that you take and see if the metrics are moving in the direction you expect based on plans you put in place. So no matter how many out-of-the-box dashboards we give, a key part of our solution is the ability for you to create your own reports and dashboards. I'm going to show you how easy that is to do right now. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is the reports menu. Okay. So the dashboard that I've just been showing you and all dashboards in GoodData are really a stitching together of individual reports and just laid out onto a screen. Okay, they're all just reusable pieces that we use to put together reports. So out of the box, our solution gives you over 80 reports, common reports, to help you get started quickly. You can create as many dashboards or reports as you like. There's no limit. And you can create as many ad hoc reports from scratch as you would like. So to do that, it's as simple as clicking on this big green button called Create Report. Okay. So GoodData takes a very different approach, which we find particularly compelling to building reports. Traditional products that we've worked with over nearly 20 years have an overwhelming approach to building reports. They give you way too many options. The learning curve is too high, and they typically require too many technical and specialist skills for the average person in the business to use. We really only have two buttons here, one called What, one called How. Okay, they're the two main buttons. So What, if I click on What, I decide what it is I would like to measure in this report. So we're going to look at revenues. So we've pre-organized all these metrics. We've pre-built into folders for you. So I want to look at revenue. I can click Done at this stage. What's happening now is in real time, GoodData has gone off to our data store, pulled back the figures for me on revenue. Okay. So now I have a single figure. So it would probably look better just as a headline report. Now, it's a useful information. It's a useful figure. It's nice to know. So typically, I'm going to want to break that figure down and categorize it and analyze it in more depth. Okay. So to do that, that is the How button. Okay. So the best way to think of this is, for example, if I wanted revenue per item category, for example, let's pick that. So 2 clicks, click Done. Again, it's gone away to the data store real time. It's brought me back now. The revenue figure broken down by my item categories. Okay, that's more useful. I can now clearly see that bikes are the category that we sell the most of, followed by components. Okay. But typically for analysis, we also want to see figures broken down over time. So I can go back into my how and add any other analysis that I want. So in this case, I want to break it down by month and year. Great, click done again. So now I've got a, straight out of the box, I've got a pivot table, I've got my item categories, and I've got my revenue per month. In less than a minute. Okay. So however, I don't necessarily want to see all years worth of data, which is given me by default. I might only want to see a more restricted range. So this is where filters come in. So I can restrict the information that the report shows me. Okay. So I want to restrict by date. I'd like to only see the last, say, 10 or 11 months. Okay. So I might want to pick a fixed years or fixed months. Okay. But more likely I'm going to want to pick a range based on what today's date is. So let's pick 10 months ago. Apply. So now I have exactly the report I was looking for. Okay. Within GoodData and directly in our solution, I can now change the layout. I might want to place my months and years in rows rather than columns. Okay. I can, on the fly, I can do it, roll-ups and other calculations, sums, averages, maximums. So I want to put a roll-up here. I want to roll it up by item category. So that's great, as well as seeing monthly figures now. I'm now seeing a running total for each category. Nice, I'm happy with that. Okay. If I change my mind, I can just reverse what I did. Everything's happening right in front of me. Okay. So one of the reasons it's so intuitive and easy to use this product is everything you do, you're doing with the data right in front of you. You're not off working in layout screens and editor screens to come back and then see if the change you've made is what you want. Okay. So now that I have my tabular data, I can start to chart that. So I just simply click here. We have a whole range of visualizations. So with one click, I've changed my pivot table into a stacked bar chart. What's good about this is I can more clearly see the proportional relationship between the values. Okay, that's good. But I can try out different chart types to see which ones may be most appropriate for the data I'm showing. So let's have a look. Yeah, in this case, I don't think that's better. Okay. So finally, now that I've got my chart the way that I want, it's very easy in GoodData to just tweak the chart slightly. So I may want to make, some slight changes. With a single drag, I could change the order, what I show on the x-axis and the y-axis. I can change change my number formats, for example. So I can highlight numbers, or I can show different currency formats. In this case, I really just want to get rid of the label on my x-axis. Cool. Now I'm happy. I'm going to save that report now. I'll save it. Okay. So just to recap, in the last 5 minutes, we've created a report from scratch. We've selected the information we want, the metric we wanted to see. We've iteratively added in breakdowns for that metric so we can see more detail. We have charted it. We've adjusted the layout of the chart to exactly what we want, and we've saved it and added it to our central repository. Okay. So the next thing I'd like to show you is let's go and create our own dashboard now from scratch. Add a dashboard. Okay. So everything I do, very simple menus, very simple options. Okay. So to build a dashboard, it's a drag and drop pixel perfect editor that we use. So again, as per reports, everything you do happens right in front of you. So I can pull down my reports. So I can add in my webinar report that I just created. Here it goes. I can drag it. I can drag this around the screen. I can resize it to any way I want. There we go. Yeah, that looks about right. I can add in any other reports I have in my library just as easily. Let's add in a revenue headline figure. There we go. Cool. Finally, I might want to add in some filters. Done. I can save that now. Now we have a brand new live dashboard tailored to exactly what I need to see, and which I can now share amongst everybody in my organization if I choose to, and I can drive that information and managing by the metrics out across my company. Okay, and all of it's interactive and built by me. Okay, so key benefits of our solution. Number one, to recap, is this is a pre-built solution. We can pour your data from various ERP systems. We have pre-built connectors for a range of ERPs, which we can load data from those ERP systems directly into this solution, and you're up and running. We give you a pre-built metrics library that you can adapt or change. We give you reports out of the box that you can create, or you can adapt, extend, or create new ones. And we give you starter dashboards and easy-to-use tools that you can create the dashboards that will really make the data sing for your business. Okay, we've done all of that with no classroom training, no massive manuals to study, because we know people won't spend the time and really haven't got the time to spend learning complicated to use business intelligence products. So all of this is delivered on demand, online. Okay, so you have no infrastructure to install, you have no software to manage in-house. Okay.
Patty, thanks very much for the overview.
Thank you, Cody.
I think, obviously, as everyone can see, an enormous amount of domain expertise around ERP, and to that end, there's some Q&A that we've had come in from the webinar participants. The first looks like 4 or 5 questions are really directed towards Covali, so we'll start with those. So Patty, Noel, what ERP systems do you guys actually connect with? What is the Revenue Bash applicable for?
Yeah, the application that we have is a blueprint. You can bring data in from any ERP, and if you bring it into this model, it will work. We have pre-built connectors to Microsoft Navision, Sage 200, Sage 300, which is also known as Sage ACPAC, and Sage 500. If somebody has an ERP system that we haven't pre-built a connector for, we'd be more delighted to build them a connector for that system. That's how we extend our range of connectors. Okay.
Great. And so on to that, I guess that kind of answers well, I guess there's 2 questions here around data. First is, where is the data and how does it get into your bash? And the second is, can you add additional data?
Yeah, it's a great question, Cody. The data is held on the GoodData platform, as you would have indicated earlier. one of the reasons we like good data is because it provides everything we need. It provides the front-end tools, dashboard and reporting, but it also provides a powerful data storage engine and a powerful analytical engine. How the data gets from the ERP system into good data is via software tools provided by good data. It's a product known as Cloud Connect, and it's a software tool that pulls the data from your ERP system and pushes it up into the good data project that we will have set up for you. So everything is catered for. And that tool is where we've built pre-built connectors to specific ERP systems. I don't know if I answered that question very well.
Yeah, I think you did. I think there's a follow-on question of that, which is, can these be extended? Can you add additional data outside of ERP or beyond what you've built in the bash?
Yeah, absolutely. The most common extension that we see is to add in target or budget data, and the model absolutely allows for that. The demonstration that we showed today uses demonstration data, so we don't have targets for that. It is completely extendable and adaptable. Some other common ones that we've seen is if you're a company that has products and stock, you add in stock information, for example, and you can now see stock turnovers and replenishment strategies, for example, in terms of, based on our sales, what sort of stock levels do we need to carry and when do we need to order more stock. But you can extend it almost any way people can think of.
Great. And then the all-important question is pricing for the bash. Have you guys published any pricing, or do you have an idea of what the pricing in the market's going to be for this?
Sure. I'll let Noel handle that question.
Yeah, we're following the on-demand model where we have an entry-level suite, and we have a professional suite, and we have an enterprise suite. The entry-level suite can start as low as $200 per month for 10 users. We may be introducing a promotional for less than 10 users, but that's our starting point at the moment. For 10 users, $20 per user per month, and that would include the bash.
Excellent. Excellent. And is that available on your website, or how do people find out about the pricing for you guys?
Yeah, and I know there's a slide at the end with my details on it, Cody, so anybody can get full details of the pricing from me. And it's also on our website, which we're having revamped at the moment, but it should be, it's on our website, even though the website has been revamped and will be there over the next few days.
Okay, great. One more question for you guys, and this is actually for me. Can you talk a little bit about what the time to build this was, and kind of the expertise needed to build and deploy this bash?
Sure. We judge the effort by person weeks, to be more politically correct. When we originally built these business performance models, we put over, for that particular solution, it was 6 to 8 man months of effort to come up with a generic solution that would work for everybody. Then specifically when we built it onto the Good Data platform, given that Good Data is a very productive way of building, we built it largely through October and November, and we put in a total of about 6 man weeks to do so. And that was partly, a part of that was our learning curve and just becoming competent and expert on using the platform, which, to be honest, we found remarkably quick to do. So there was a lot of initial expertise in terms of how the model should work, and then building on the Good Data platform proved to be remarkably easy.
Great. Great. And then one final question that we have today, someone wrote in about the fact that you could see the Good Data logo when looking at the Covali bash. And the question is, can Covali brand or white label this bash? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Yes.
I think when you guys take it to market, you're fully planning to do that with the beautiful Covali logo and the color schemes and things of that nature. And yes, we have white label capabilities on the platform for anybody that's interested in building bashes.
We do also anticipate, Cody, that majority of customers that we deal with like to have their business intelligence application branded for them as well. So we anticipate that being the case. Yeah.
And do you guys anticipate embedding the dashboards inside of the kind of core systems, the Sages or the Microsoft ERP systems, and so that users are actually consuming the data in their kind of what I'll call the master application? Do you guys plan to go to it that way as well?
Absolutely. At the enterprise level, we were able to offer the single sign-on integration, Cody. So yeah, we can. Some of these ERP systems are still using desktop clients. So where they are, more modern versions of them are using web-based clients. We can absolutely embed dashboards and reports directly in line to the business processes in that case. From a GoodData perspective, it's a completely standard feature. So it's great to be able to do that.
Great. Well, that's everything from a questions perspective. On the next slide, if you can go advance to that, Patty, you have contact information for Patty, the Director of Professional Services, who spent the time demoing the product, Noel Shannon, the MD at Covali Group, who gave the intro, and then my information is there, and if you don't want to type my last name, Cody at GoodData works as well, so feel free to ping me if you're interested in learning more about building your own bashes. We thank you very much, everyone that joined today. Hopefully you found this valuable. Obviously, thanks to our partners, Covali, for a great overview of building a bash and highlighting their domain expertise. Obviously, rich and deep domain expertise in ERP. And as I said, we have recorded this webinar. We will make it available online, both on Covali's website and GoodData's website. So with that, we'll say thanks, and we will sign off. Noel, Patty, thanks very much. Have a great day.
Thank you, Cody.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.